Good evening, sports fanatics. The Angry Hat Podcast coming at you on a Wednesday night. It's February the 7th, 2018. We got a lot to talk about. We are past the Super Bowl. We are in the post NFL podcast world right now. We're going to touch on that a little bit. We got a lot of just a mixed bag of tricks of sports to talk about today. But let me introduce my fellas. Michael Hall. What's up? Michael?
Hey guys,
Michael,
I'm here.
Waiting on you, brother.
I'm here, and I'm fired up.
He's all fired up right now. That's why he was
Don't even introduce me, Rye. Just tell me what you're fired up about, Michael.
We'll get to it. Josh McDaniels, absolute slug, and JD Martinez, out of his mind. But we'll get to all that.
I like it. That makes for a good Angry Hacks podcast. All right, boys. Super Bowl is done. It was the worst two teams we could possibly think of to watch for me and you, Rye.
Yep.
The game itself was very entertaining if you love offense. If you're a big defense guy or gal, it was rough to watch. But, I mean, for a Super Bowl, you want a lot of entertainment, and you got it on a lot of fronts. The outcome, not too happy about it, but I guess I'm over it at this point because what else? Well, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. But the Eagles win their first Super Bowl, franchise history, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Who gives a crap? Because I don't. Ryan, what'd you think of the game?
You know what? Entertaining at least. So at least there was something going there. And, I didn't expect the outcome. I couldn't believe how, Tom Brady threw for 500 yards and they still lost the game. But, hey, it was entertaining at least. So the two worst teams that we could possibly root for at least made it a good game to watch. And I'm happy for Nick Foles. He played his ass off, and Doug Peterson with some really ballsy, big balls calls, like all night. And it was, you know what? It was impressive.
Yeah, you're 100% right. He did have some calls where, in a big stage in the Super Bowl, you really don't see many coaches do that. A couple of fourth down calls that were super ballsy in a close game. You got to tip your hat to him. You really do. I don't like the guy at all. I hate his stupid visor. I hate looking at his face. But you know what? Out-coached the best coach in NFL history. I will say it. He out-coached him.
Yeah, he did.
He definitely did.
Yeah. Mike, what did you think of the game?
I thought it was phenomenal. I mean, Stan, you touched on it. I mean, Brady, I think the first quarterback in history to throw for over 500 yards, no picks, and lose in any game. I mean, it was the most combined yards of offense in any game in NFL history. Any single game. It broke the playoff record. They were still in the third quarter. And by the time the game was over, more yards in any game in history, which is pretty remarkable. But, Eagles, Peterson, the way they played all year, aggressive, pedal to the metal. And, that's how you have to take chances against the Patriots to beat them in these games. You can't just play not to lose And I think every call was aggressive. Every call was perfect. To tell you the truth, the only play I had a problem with was when they're trying to kill it right before the 2-minute warning and they ran on second down. I thought that was a little too conservative. You throw there, the clock's going to stop anyway, and the first down ends the game. But whatever. I mean, the fourth and goal right before the half, when pretty much any other team would take a field goal there, and they run that play. I mean, it's incredible. Watching some of the audio, Foles really made that call. Peterson wanted to go for it. Foles came to the sideline and said, "Hey, what about Philly special?" Which is what they called that play. And Peterson said, "Yeah, fuck it, let's run it." And they executed it perfectly. Foles can catch, Brady can't. We learned, and that play and that 4th and 5, I believe it was, towards the end of the game at midfield, where again, that's where the Falcons would punt last year. And the Eagles go for it, and Ertz makes a hell of a catch and a play to make the first down. So all those things add up, man. And that's how you beat the Patriots, and the Eagles played damn near perfect game to do it. So, I don't love the Eagles either, but hats off to them. They took down the mighty Patriots.
You know what, guys, too, that, is on my mind with all the craziness that happened in this NFL season this year. It was only apropos that we have a couple of controversial calls, touchdown calls. And the first one wasn't as big as the second one, and it was, it was less like big, and that was the Clement catch in the end zone, where he gets the 2 feet down, but was there a little bobble? Was there a change of the ball? I don't know. It's a tough call. It was a touchdown on the field, and it's a tough call to make, to overturn. I think they got that right. I really do. I think if they called on the field, if they called it not a catch, I think you can also make the case that it stays that way too. It was all about what was going to be called on the field, and they called a touchdown. So I think they did the right thing. They took enough time to look at it. I mean, if you want any time for the refs to take forever to look at a call, it's the Super Bowl, obviously, especially in a close game. So I think they did a really good job on that one. And then the second one was was it Ertz, right? It was Ertz with the touchdown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where he caught it and he became a runner, dove, and the ball hit the ground as he dove into the end zone, and it popped out. I mean, that one was a little easier to see because, I mean, if you think about it, we were texting back and forth. He was a runner after that. He caught the ball, changed, turned, changed directions, actually ran with it a little bit, and then dove, and then lost the ball. So it's more of, and also he crossed the line into the end zone, and then the ball hits the ground, and then it pops out. So I felt like that one was much easier. I know they took forever on that one, but you needed to, which I was totally fine with. And I think Gene Steratore and his crew did a fantastic job in that game. I have to say, and we know that he is one of the best, if not the best, at calling games. So what did you guys think of those two calls? Do you think they got those things right? Those two calls right?
I do think they got him right. The Ertz thing, I know they looked at it for a long time, but I don't know why they needed to look at it so long, because I thought it was clear cut that he made a couple of football moves and was clearly a runner. And once he crossed the plane, it was a touchdown. I guess they were just trying to confirm that was the case. But I mean, I thought we saw that right away, and I couldn't believe. I know the Eagles fans are pissed at Collinsworth, but so is, I'm sure, the Patriot fans are too, and every team in the league is, because he was like, "Oh, it might not be a catch," and the only reason why he's saying that is because the NFL has been so weird on these calls all year. Mm-hmm. So I get it, but it was a touchdown, and the other one, It was tougher, but I do think they got the right call on both of them. And like you said, Steratore is great. They did a good job out there.
Oh, I mean, and remember that it's still the mishmash of crews. You know, this is not Gene's crew.
Right.
But the way he just takes control of a game. I mean, he's great at it. And I mean, I think my favorite part of the whole freaking game was they just let him play all night.
Yes, they did.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you know, Jenkins putting Cooks in a body bag. Say what you want. Maybe there's a little bit of helmet to helmet, but I think it was pretty clear he wasn't intending to. It looked like he wanted to give him a solid shoulder blow. You know, heads get lowered. They let that go, like I think they should have. I think they got both those touchdown calls right, like you guys said. Ertz ran for about 10 yards, so I don't know what the big deal was. The Clement one, yeah, a little closer. You know, a little bit of a bobble, but is he just resecuring? Because I think by rule the ball can move if it's deemed the guy's just resecuring, either changing hands or what have you. So you can call it that. He might have scraped that last foot in anyway when he controlled. So, like you said, Nuns, whatever they called in the field was probably going to stay. To be honest, because it's the Patriots, I was surprised with that Clement one that they didn't overturn it. I was waiting. I was expecting them to. Glad they didn't because I think they got it right. The Ertz one was silly. I mean, you know, they're just looking for a reason to overturn these things. I mean, the guy ran he took like 3 giant steps. I mean, if that's not a football move, then I give up. But Steratore, you know, it's funny. We had to talk about, you have to break down the refs after all these games, but it's gotten to that point. And the biggest game of the year, give it to Gene because he takes care of it, and he did.
He does, and you're right. I forgot that they mishmashed together. You kind of forget because that game was just called very well on all ends.
Yeah.
So you think it's Gene's whole crew out there, but you're right. It's him. He controls his crew. He never fumbles his words. He knows exactly what to say. He knows how to say it. And if there's something controversial, he's going to get down. He's going to get to the bottom of it and make the correct call. I appreciate, those 2 calls. I appreciate them looking at it a little bit longer. I know the Earth one was pretty clear cut. After that first replay, I was like, nah, that's a touchdown. He becomes a runner. That's a touchdown. But I appreciate them looking at it, especially in the Super Bowl. I mean, if it's week 4 and they're looking at that long, I'm getting pissed off. But, Super Bowl, you got to make these calls right. And they did. And the game was fantastic to watch. It was very entertaining. The outcome, Eagles won, makes the Giants season just 10 times worse. But, I'm not here to sit here and talk about the Giants anymore. Any more about this game, guys, that you want to touch on?
No, enough has been said by many avenues, and we touched up on the right stuff, I think, here tonight.
All right. Well, then we'll move on. Let's switch some gears. I'm excited, guys, where we're going here. It's post NFL now, so our podcasts are going to be a lot of different things. We've been running through football podcasts each week throughout the season. Now we're going to get to some other sports. Baseball's coming around the corner. The NBA is in the midst of the trade deadline right now. Hockey's winding down as well, so we're going to be talking about a lot of things. Let's talk a little baseball. Rye, this is directed towards you, my friend. Okay, the Mets made a little bit of a splash in free agency in signing Todd Frazier to a 2-year, $17 million deal. What do you think of this deal?
Well, for one, the only reason why I'm okay with the move is that it's an upgrade from yesterday or the day before. Now, is this a guy that I wanted? Not necessarily. He hits for home runs. His career batting average is .245, and he hasn't seen that in 3 years. He's been under that the last couple, and that scares me. That's a scary thing, but he's a good clubhouse guy. He's a good power hitter. He's a pretty good defender. He's going to play multiple positions, and I think that was A lot of the reason why we liked him over like a Nunez, because he's going to play first as a right-handed batter, or could play first as a right-handed batter, as well as third. And I think they like that, being that they have two lefty first basemen and Dominic Smith and Adrian Gonzalez, and even their third first baseman and Bruce would be another lefty first baseman. So I think they wanted that right-handed bat that could play first and third. This guy wanted to be close to New York. I think he might have given a little bit of a discount. I mean, 2 years, 17 is not terrible, and that's why I'm okay with this as well. And he's still only 31, Rye. I mean, he's not old. He's going to be 32 like next week, but he's not old. He should still be okay. Just please don't hit me 200. Get me at least 240, please.
You know what? I had a few days to chew on this. Originally when it came out that we did sign him, I was a little annoyed. Because what the Mets have been doing the last couple of years is getting all these power bats, and guys that hit for low averages, okay? Guys that are not big on base guys that don't have much speed. So I kind of had to look a little bit more about Todd Frazier on his stats and everything, and just the overall circumference of the player that is Todd Frazier. So, like you said he's got a good glove at third. I love that you mentioned that he's there to play a couple of different positions. He can play multiple positions, which is excellent. We need that utility type guy, and especially that right-handed bat for first base, since we have the two lefties. Another power bat is nice. It's always nice to get another power bat. The fans love home runs. They do. They love RBIs. They love that stuff. And he's going to bring some excitement in that aspect to the fan base. I like that we grabbed another righty. I think that was important. A righty power bat to go with our boy Cespedes. And now this was the thing that got me. Okay. I looked at his on base percentage because that's super important. He actually was his on base percentage last year was .344. So he drew a lot of walks last year, which I looked at and I was like, okay, I like that. I actually like that for a guy that hit 210 or whatever he hit. If he like you said, if he can hit 235, 240, but stay in that 350 on base percentage range, I'm fine with that. Just make sure you're hitting 25 to 30 home runs, please.
Right. Well, I'm okay with that too, Rye. But the thing is that 344 on base, that's the highest of his career. And the walks that he drew a lot of walks in that Yankee lineup. And his on base with the Yankees last year was 365. But it's because that Yankee lineup was so dominant. I think that's part of the reason why he was able to be so disciplined. He wasn't pressing at all. He didn't have to. He was kind of relaxed. I mean, Mike, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but that's just me looking into the numbers.
Well, there's probably truth to that, sure.
Because I see, and you know what though? I was thinking about it. I was thinking, you know what? Does he have to come here and be the guy? No, because if Conforto comes back and we have Conforto, Cespedes, Bruce and Frazier actually are good buddies from their Cincinnati days, which is another good thing. And Bruce is a good clubhouse guy, so we're just adding the right type of clubhouse guy, I think, which I like. But with Cespedes and Bruce and Conforto and now Frazier, even Cabrera and Rosario, our offense can be okay if he puts up the kind of numbers we were saying. Give me 25 to 30 homers. Don't kill me with the on base. It could be okay. I'm trying to talk myself into it because, yes, would I have preferred Nunez or Harrison? Probably. But I'm okay with Frazier. And I think this thumbs down guy, as weird as it sounds, I think he had a kick out of that. And I think that guy might have had a 1% chance of making this thing happen, of making Frazier warm to the Mets.
Oh, it's New York, too. I mean, for him to stay local probably had something to do with it. And listen, it's another professional bat. You guys, you're not too far from the days of pretty much putting a minor league team on the field in terms of your lineup. I mean, it's just another pro, and I think um, a lot of the stuff with Frazier, I think it's overblown. I mean, this isn't Adam Dunn. He's not going to strike out 200 times. I mean, the most he's ever struck out in a season is 160. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not ridiculous. This isn't Mark Reynolds.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's big in big spots. I saw him for a couple months up close. You know, didn't shrink up in the playoff games, that's for sure. Does play a good third base. Is going to show up. He's going to play 155 games if you need it. And is a guy who's averaged 30 home runs and 86 RBIs. So who cares if he hits 220 and strikes out 150 times? Drive in 86, 90 if you're lucky, if he has a really good year. And I mean, what's wrong with 90 RBIs in the middle of your lineup? I mean, I think this is a great signing, to be honest with you, for $8.5 million a year. I think this is a win. I really do.
Yeah, thinking about it the last day, having 24 hours to think about it. My brother told me, and happy birthday to my brother Mark. But he told me, he texted me about it, and he go, "Hey, you hear about the Frazier?" And I said, "No." And I'm like, "Okay, 2 years, 17." And I'm thinking, at first, I'm like, "Okay, the Mets are doing things." And then I kind of got into another guy that's going to strike out a ton and hit a lot of home runs. But you know what? Like you said, Mike, I'm okay with it. And this guy's wins above replacement has been, above 1.5 every year of his career, above 3 the last few. So, you know, I'm okay with it. And I think that this guy, all he has to do is come in here and, be good with the media and hit a couple of home runs in his first month, and we'll be okay with him.
Yeah. And Mike, we get a good perspective from you because being a Yankee fan, you saw him for a couple months, like you said. So listen, if you like it, if you think it's a solid move, I'm with you too. I really am.
And listen, I mean, a lot of Yankee fans are upset we didn't bring him back. And I wouldn't say I'm upset, but if I woke up and saw that the Yankees are bringing back Frazier, I would have been happy about it. He's the kind of guy that just fits anywhere. High energy guy, great in the clubhouse, like you said. And he's all, great in the clubhouse is well and good. Nunzi, I know you've heard that term before. I mean, that's all well and good, but the guy can't suck. Yeah. Todd Frazier is a good baseball player who's also great in the clubhouse, so it's a win-win. And another thing, intangibles with this guy, I saw it a lot. I mean, yeah, he's not a burner. He's not fast per se, but he did swipe 20 bags one year, a few years ago, because he's a smart base runner. We saw that a couple times in the playoffs in that Cleveland game. The way he knows the game. He's a smart ball player, smart in the base paths, and that adds more runs, that adds more wins. So again, I think it's a good signing for the Mets, especially at the price. So I think you got a good third baseman. I really do.
That's good. I mean, just talking about it with you guys is warming me up to this guy a little bit even more. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Right. Now we short up the third base spot now. Even if he doesn't play that many games, like 150 something games, even if he's got to take some time off, we still have Cabrera who can slide over there. Reyes is still here, so we got some utility bats too. We have Adrian Gonzalez too. We're adding some depth too, but we still got some work to do, man. We still got some work to do. We need to get another starter at the end of the rotation, I think, and I think we definitely need a bullpen guy, another one, at least one or two guys. What do you think?
Hey, you know what? The Mets have had a few needs coming into this offseason. I wasn't expecting to bring Bruce back. I was at the end of last year, and then, once the offseason started, I'm like, no, we're not bringing him back. There's no way. But you know what? We did. So that took care of that. So we spent a little money there. Then we bring in Frazier. And like we said, he's a professional hitter. These are two professional hitters that have had almost had 40 home run years in their careers recently, or 35 homers, 40 home run guys that can do that again. And we needed a guy that could play anywhere in the infield, and we brought back Reyes, and very cheap. And this Frazier was cheap, and Bruce was cheap. And if we can bring in a starter and a reliever now, you know what? I can't criticize the Mets brass because they're actually doing things. A month ago, I didn't think we were going to do anything, and now we're making moves. So you know what? They're trying to better the ball club, and I think they are. I think they're better. They're better now than they were at the end of last year, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then I read today that Dominic Smith is in the best shape of his life.
I read that you sent us that.
I mean, I hope so.
I hope so too. I mean, I'm not worried about him and a guy like Rosario just because they're so young and they have a lot of growth. So, I mean, I'm not expecting anything from them. I just want them to play well and just get the experience in the big leagues. They're probably a couple of years away from stardom, if that. But just they need to play. They need to play every day. I was getting nervous, Rye, when we talked about this. I was getting nervous with this organization because it seemed like they were really down on Dominic Smith. They were really down on him. And they bring in another lefty first baseman. It was just really weird. But I don't know. It's slow moving. This offseason's been slow moving. So you're right. So maybe they they're gonna wait a little bit longer. A lot of these free agents are still unsigned, and maybe they just grab another couple guys in free agency on the cheap. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that they're linked to Lance Lynn and Alex Cobb. And I don't love those guys, but you know what? It's better than throwing out Chris Flexen. You know what I'm saying? So
Flexen.
I see that guy again.
But and this other thing is I know we had this talk about Brandon Nimmo. We didn't trade him for McCutchen. We kept him, but you just said we've added depth. Now let me just give you the bench really quick of what it looks like right now. Okay. Adrian Gonzalez, Jose Reyes, Wilmer Flores, Juan Lagares, and Brandon Nimmo, and that's when Conforto comes back. Is there a better bench than that? Really?
That's a good bench, man.
Good bench. I forgot about Flores, bud.
You got everything covered there. I mean, utility infielder. You got the guy who mashes against lefties and Flores. I mean, Nimmo, we'll see. Good young hitter. Could be really, could be a good young hitter. I mean, yeah, you gotta like that.
So I mean, and then I mean, I can't believe I'm even going to say this, but this guy, could come back at some point. We could get a David Wright back and get a guy off the bench like that.
You never know.
You never know. But without that, the five guys I just mentioned, that's a pretty solid bench.
It is. I'm with you there. I'm with you, and that's why I said that we've kind of added some depth. I'm with you with the Lance Lynn, Alex Cobb. Not excited, but there it is again. Some more depth. We need another starting pitcher because of what happened last year. Most of our guys went down with injury. But we definitely, our weak point is still going to be that bullpen, man. I'm not sold on them. And Callaway already said that we don't have a set closer. So he hasn't named Familia the closer. So it's basically by committee in him and AJ Ramos and some of these other guys, even Blevins. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. He's we talked about Callaway, and we really don't know how well he's going to perform here as a manager. But it's exciting. He's a young guy. This is an interesting move for us. We got a pitching guy, which is it's fun. It's kind of fun. But I'm with you. I like the lineup right now. I think right now this lineup is like middle of the road. I'm saying right in the middle of all the major league teams in terms of offense. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're definitely in the middle or the top. Like they're closer to the top than the bottom, but they're right in the middle.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens, and hopefully in the next couple of podcasts, we'll be talking about another signing and another signing. You know what I'm saying?
I hope so.
So, but yeah, I mean, good signing, Todd Frazier. third baseman, New York Mets. He seems excited about it as well. Mike, any Yankee news? I don't want to just talk on the Mets, but I don't know if there's any news to be had for the Yankees.
Well, in roster-wise, not so much. I mean, it looks like with Frazier off the market, I mean, the Yankees are still being played for Nunez. But I think the Yankees are fine with going in with what they have. That being, Bird at first. It'll be Torres' job to lose at second. Didi at short, and Miguel Andujar will definitely get every opportunity to be the starting third baseman out of camp. So not too much. I mean, like I said, they'll make a play for Nunez. They might offer him something. I know there's a lot of teams interested in his services. We'll see what happens there. But if from my vantage point, I mean, I'll take this roster as is, and open up the way it is. I just read literally just now that Pedro, our old friend Pedro Martinez, is working with Severino again this offseason. So big ups, Pedro. Thank you very much. It seemed to help last year a little bit. So that can't hurt. So, yeah, I mean, a healthy Sonny Gray, Montgomery in his second year, Big Cheech, CC, slinging BBs, and Severino and Tanaka at the top. I mean, I'll go with that. I'll go with that every day.
And, with football over now, and especially for, both of us, teams that didn't make the playoffs in football. I mean, Mike, after that Giancarlo trade, you got to be chomping at the bit for some baseball season.
No, I've to be honest, I've been since the last out of Game 7 of the ALCS. But yeah, we're in February now. Pitchers and catchers are slowly starting to file in. So as baseball fans, we really start to salivate. You start hearing the pops of the mitts and the jogging around sunny Florida, and you start getting excited. And obviously, Stanton in that lineup is pretty ridiculous. And another big move, we're forgetting that they traded for Russell Wilson today. So that the Super Bowl experience is going to be big. So I don't even know what position Russell Wilson plays. Does anyone know?
I think he's the second baseman.
Yeah, so there you go.
Second.
Oh, you love the versatility. Obviously, big, strong guy. So, yeah, just Cashman does it again, just adding depth. You love it.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. I saw that before.
The line I saw was, "Take that, Tim Tebow."
You forgot about Wilson. He's been, the Rangers have had his rights for several years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yankees making moves still.
Well, I'm glad, guys, that we got a little episode in today. It's a good day, Rye, to get one in because, the NBA is heating up, man, and that trade deadline is tomorrow. But before we get to that, because I know you really want to talk about that, and I definitely want to talk about it with you. Oh my God! And big bad news for the New York Knicks again. Their star player, Kristaps Porzingis, goodbye, out for the year, torn ACL last night. Holy cow! Another franchise that just keeps falling flat on their face when they get excited about certain things. And you couldn't lose a worse guy, right? Don't you think?
Oh, this is terrible news. I mean, right now, if I'm in the Knicks front office, I'm like, let's try to trade everything we can, and just hope that we can get a good draft pick, that we can build around Porzingis coming back from this injury, because this season's over now. Like, any hopes of making like the 7th or 8th seed of the playoffs is out the window now.
Yeah,
so this is a bad one.
They might as well tank at this point.
Well, yeah, exactly. I was saying it without saying it, but yes,
well,
I
yeah,
agree.
I mean they don't even have to tank. They're just gonna suck so bad, that you will get the desired result if that's losing games because they're gonna lose plenty.
Yeah, and I think they made their first move of the deadline today. And it's funny because this guy, you would think, Willie Hernan Gomez, who they traded to Charlotte today, would have been a pretty decent guy to get some minutes, with Porzingis going down. This guy was an all-rookie first-teamer last year, and then they don't play him at all this year. So he gets pissed off. He demands a trade. They trade him today. They get 2 future second-round picks in 2020 and 2021. And Johnny O'Brien. Does that wet your whistle or not at all?
Oh, baby. I heard they're already going to waive him.
Yeah, I saw that. They're going to waive him already.
So they get the 2 second rounders back for Willie, which is what they gave up to get him in the fucking first place. And like you said, he made the all rookie team. He's young. The Knicks are fucking so stupid. They're so stupid. So what? So we're just trying to open up room for the corpse Noah to play now, or what are we doing?
No, it's never playing the corpse. Now today, tomorrow's that deadline, and like I said, the Knicks should be in fire sale mode. Unfortunately, no one there is wanted by anybody else except for maybe 2 guys, maybe 3. And Courtney Lee and Kyle O'Quinn are guys that you can get out of, you can get something back for them. Kyle O'Quinn's going to probably bring you second-round picks, but Courtney Lee could bring you like a late first-round pick or a future first-round pick in the right deal if you take back someone maybe that has 2 years on their deal instead of 1. But at this point, it's worth it. That's worth it for the Knicks. My phone is buzzing. The phone is buzzing.
Updates?
Trade deadline madness coming in here. What do you got?
I can't even. That's like the hard line saying that's Wojnarowski. That's Woj on the phone.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around. He goes straight to the landline.
Straight to the landline, and I'm just gonna let that landline go. I'm not answering. I'm gonna let Woj hang on right there.
Leave a message.
Yeah, you leave a message, Woj, and if it's big news, I'll let you guys know in a minute. But anyway, Kyle O'Quinn and Courtney Lee could get you back something. People will want them. The corpse Noah. You're never getting rid of him. People would want Ntilikina, but you don't want to give him up now.
No.
But let's have enough, especially now with Porzingis out, and you're not going to make the playoffs. Let's have enough. And I like Jarrett Jack as a player. Let's have enough of Jarrett Jack and Trey Burke, and let's play Frank Ntilikina. Let's start him. Let's get him some.
Right.
Get him some.
Let's see what he does with 35 minutes in the starting job.
Exactly. Because now you have nowhere to go this year, and you could at least build this guy's confidence for the future here.
No, I agree. Well,
how about
go ahead.
this, guys? Really quick. Pacers Pelicans game was delayed due to a leak in the roof. Imagine if that game doesn't go off.
Oh, I'll be so pissed, dude. I was actually just going to ask you that.
Oh my God.
Pacers Pelicans. Where's the game? Is it Indy or New Orleans?
New
Orleans.
Of course, their fucking roof would leak.
Oh my God, man. Everybody should get their money back if they have something.
Wasn't it the Superdome that was the Ravens-Niners Super Bowl when the lights went out?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They can't keep the lights on. They have leaky fucking roofs. So what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, this would kill my I have 4 guys from New Orleans tonight on my team.
Wowzers.
Definitely Rondo.
Yeah, you know what? Rondo's not starting. Here's the breaking news out of that camp. Rondo's not starting tonight. And if I tell you who the starting point guard is tonight, you'll crap your pants because this guy's awful. DeAndre Liggins.
Well, I think they said that Drew Holiday is going to run the point.
Well, that's fine. But why is DeAndre Liggins starting? Oh, because he's not even a good defender. He pretends to be a good defender because he picks up guys full court. Yeah. And then they always score on the bucket because he's out of gas by the time they reach half court.
Well, I read that Alvin Gentry, who by the way is an awful coach, he wanted to give a spark to the second unit, and that's why he's putting Rondo to run the point of the second unit, which I don't know.
Rondo.
So dumb. That second unit's awful.
All right.
Second unit's awful.
Stan the man.
Yeah.
I have a trade rumor for you, and I want to ask you if you've heard anything about it.
Yep.
And if you have, what have you heard? apparently there's a big rumor with the Hornets and the Cavs
Okay,
of a
Kemba.
possible big deal, like Kemba Walker, Nick Batum for like Isaiah, Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith. Have you heard anything about this?
I heard about it a few days ago. I heard of the tires getting kicked a few days ago. I haven't heard anything about it today, but if you're hearing about it today, that means it's still getting some momentum. Now,
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure when if I'm reading something old or current, but I thought that was very interesting.
well, see, that's the type of move that the Cavs need to make. The Cavs need to shake this thing up. Isaiah does not play. Isaiah and LeBron do not play well together.
No, that's
Um,
clear.
it's very clear. Isaiah is shooting the ball a ton. He's not making it. His legs are not there. It's what he was so good at last year was he had these legs that could take him to the hole. He could shoot from anywhere. That hip injury is clearly worse than anyone thought. He's not the same player. I feel terrible, but it's just the truth. He's not the same guy. LeBron is it just feels like he's unmotivated. Feels like he's almost packing it in. There's so many issues here with this team. They're in third place, but they're only like 4 games ahead of the ninth place seed in the East. They could be out of the playoffs. I mean, I don't see that happening. But this is kind of crazy what's been going on in Cleveland. So a Nicholas Batum, Kemba Walker deal. The only way that happens though, because Charlotte, they're not playing they're not playing well. They're 7 games under, but that team should be a lot better. But that means they're giving up. So you'd have to get something back. You're not going to like Tristan Thompson could be in the deal, but he makes so much money. You're giving up 2 very good players for a Tristan Thompson who makes like a max contract and he's not good. So you have to get Kevin Love in the deal, even though he's hurt. You have to get Love in the deal. And if they do it, that's the only way that's going to happen is if they bring back Kevin Love.
Interesting.
I mean, Isaiah would be in the deal too. So I guess, but I think Love has to be in that deal if you're giving up Kemba and you're giving up Batum. I don't think they would want Tristan Thompson. Unless this keeps first round picks out of it, maybe they do. I mean, this is a weird rumor. Yeah, I heard another rumor today about DeAndre going there from the Clippers to the Cavs. And then I've heard DeAndre to the Wizards with Gortat going back to the Clippers. Like so a lot of weird stuff happening. But again, the only deal today I think is this Willie Hernan Gomez. So we're going to hear a lot tomorrow, and I'm interested. Oh, and one guy that's not going to be out there now is Lou Williams, who signed an extension with the Clippers today.
Yeah.
So whatever Memphis was asking for Tyreek Evans, they could almost ask for more now because there's no other competition on the market.
True. Very true. Rye, what I keep hearing, and what do you think of the Celtics possibly getting Tyreek Evans?
I keep hearing it too, and the guy that's they're talking about being willing to trade Marcus Smart if they can get a first round pick for him. Now that would kill me because this guy is all heart. This guy, I would hate to lose his intensity, his defense, everything about him. I would hate to lose him off my ball club. And if we trade, I understand we need offense on the second unit. I get it. But I would rather get a guy like we picked up Greg Monroe. I would rather get a guy that can shoot the three, that can play 10 minutes off the bench, that can hit an open three, and that guy is Marco Bellinelli from Atlanta. I would rather a guy like that than giving up Smart or a first-round pick for Tyreek Evans. Because Tyreek Evans has played very well this year, but this guy has had injuries every year of his career. And I just don't know if I could trust this guy staying healthy, and I would hate to give up a guy, a valuable commodity like Marcus Smart or one of these future first-round picks for, Tyreek Evans. It would kill me.
Well, that's what I keep hearing as the possible landing spots for this guy. Do the Celtics need to make a move? If they don't make a move, are you satisfied?
I don't think they need to make a move only because these guys that get cut off of teams or, that get waived, like the Johnny O'Briens of the world and Greg Monroe, who's already on the Celtics, which was a good pickup.
Yes,
I think there's going to be a guy out there that we can pick up like that as well. And I think that that's what the Celtics are going to do. Danny Ainge is smart. He puts his name out there. He wants to see if he can win another big deal. Like if he could just, I hate to say the word, but like, if you watch that league, they talk about trade rapes and fantasy football and fantasy sports. He has made a lot of those, and he's looking to do that again. He's trying to really win a deal here, and he's only going to make a deal if it's really a win. And because he knows that a Marco Bellinelli is probably going to be waived or other guys like that, and he could pick up somebody that's not going to be Tyreek Evans, because what Tyreek does is he creates his own shot. Bellinelli needs his, he's running off screens to get a shot. And that's why Tyreek was so important, I think, to the Celtics, is he does create for himself. And no one on our second unit really does that except for Rozier, but he's so small that all they have to do is put a good defender on him. It's tough. Although he played freaking phenomenal when Kyrie was out the last 3 games.
He was excellent, man. He was excellent. Well, have you heard any other guys possibly being moved in the NBA? Anybody? Any big names?
No. I mean, just DeAndre Jordan, Marcin Gortat. If I'm the Cavaliers, I'm trying to trade LeBron, but he obviously has a no trade, and he's not waiving it apparently. But no, I haven't heard much, and I think it's going to come in a flurry tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be an avalanche tomorrow. It'll be interesting. So when you set your DFS lineup tomorrow, be very weary. Be very, very weary. All right. Michael, let's get angry. You ready? Ready to get angry? All right. Let's start off with
ready.
Mr. Douchebag Josh McDaniels. Let's start there. So this was some crazy shit, dude. So he agrees what does agree in principle mean, by the way? What does that actually mean?
Well, to me, it means if you're a man of your word, you'll sign the paper. But you can't sign until a certain point, so your word is all someone has to go on.
Yeah, so he agrees in principle, to be the next head football coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and we've been waiting for this for until the Super Bowl ended, because it was kind of put out there weeks ago that he was going to get that job. So it's all over the social media. Josh McDaniels has it. He's got it. Blah blah blah. Whatever. He's bringing all these assistants with him. They named a bunch of these assistants. All of a sudden, you hear that's it. He's not going. He's not going. He's staying back, and he's going to stay with the Patriots and be their offensive coordinator again. And the crazy part about it, guys, is that some of these assistants already went over there and signed contracts. Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. Mike, talk about this. This is absurd.
This fucking guy is what a weasel, man. And you know what? And just to think that, the Giants could be in this position, right?
Oh, my God.
That was my first thought.
I mean, think about that for a second. So, okay, first of all, Josh, you're a quack of a coach, okay? That's first off, okay? Your pretty much whole career is based on having Tom Brady, let's be honest. I mean, you left for 3 years, head coach with Denver for 2 years. Your offense was, middle of the pack at best. Then you were the offensive coordinator with the Rams in 2011. You had the worst fucking offense in the league. And by the way, those 3 years, the Patriots were just fine without you. Just fine without you. Loser. So he comes back. And listen, you would think that Kraft and the Patriots offered him something pretty nice. And people are speculating, and I would have to think that maybe they said, listen, you're the heir apparent to Belichick. Whenever he leaves, you're going to be the head coach. They lose Patricia. They almost lose this guy. Brady's 40-something years old. Belichick's about 67 years. So I think they can hear the train coming down the tracks, and they're trying to make have a plan here. And you know what? Yeah, this guy, it's nothing new. I mean, when he was in Denver, I mean, he had his own little Spygate controversy. There's stories of him cutting guys, through voicemails, and these guys trying to get back with him. He won't return phone calls to tell him why. And this guy's a fucking weasel. He's a little kid. He got into coaching because daddy knew Nick Saban. I don't know if you guys knew that. I mean, McDaniels' first job was as a grad assistant with Michigan State under Nick Saban. Guess who's buddy with Nick Saban? Josh's daddy. So this guy, I haven't liked him for a really long time. But the more and more this saga goes on, I'm starting to really loathe this fucking sleazeball. These guys hired assistants. Like you said, Nuns, I mean, these guys were packing for Indianapolis, moving their families.
Crazy.
That's the worst. That's the worst part of this thing is that if it was just him coming and he backed out, I heard Sage Rosenfeld made a tweet today about like players that are invited to camp and are promised jobs, and then they're not given them, and apparently it happens a lot. And he's like, now you know how the players feel, and talking about the Colts, and it's like, yeah, I get that, but this aspect is what's tough, is that these guys are uprooting from where they are to come to Indianapolis with families, already signing the dotted line. This is just bad news.
You forget about the human aspect of this. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, you think of sports and just, new coach, got a coaching job here. It's a new job, sometimes across the country. And it's a big deal. And, you're promised one thing or think you're getting one thing. And, this sleazeball just pulling the wool over your eyes. I mean, shame on this guy, and shame on the Colts for actually thinking this guy would be a man of his word. And this guy just screams just dickhead. He always has to me.
Well, what this reminds me of, Mike? This reminds me of the scene in Jerry Maguire when Jerry Maguire goes to see Kushlash, and he gets the Kushlash, and he gets the handshake from Bo Bridges saying, my word is solid, something more solid than oak.
Yeah.
And they shake hands, and to me, that's what the agreement is. It's just like a handshake, and
listen,
and boom, he walked away, and Kushlash signed with Bob Sugar, man. Bob Sugar knife Jerry in the back there.
Yep.
And he was just left with Rod Tidwell. And I could keep talking about Jerry Maguire because it's fan-freaking-tastic.
But you listen, it just it tells you what kind of man McDaniels is, or lack thereof. I mean, and listen, he better, I mentioned the whole, maybe Kraft is making him promises about, the keys to the Patriot castle are yours when Belichick leaves. But he better hope so. I mean, because he will not get a head coaching job anywhere else after this shit.
You're right.
After that debacle in Denver, after this, there is no freaking way. You know what, Josh? I have to say, you're a pretty smart guy. Why leave this? You don't have to do anything. You've righted Tom Brady's ball sack this whole entire time. Why the fuck leave? You tried. It was horrible because you suck. So, but again, shame on him for fleecing the Colts like this. And shame on the Colts for actually believing this scumbag.
Yeah. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. And you're right, guys. How can anybody trust this guy now? He's not going to get a head coaching job anywhere else. No way. You can't trust him. The Colts put all their eggs in their basket for this guy. I mean, now they got to start over and start looking again. I mean, who's out there? Who's out there?
Yeah, the Colts list.
Like a guy like Jim Schwartz or a guy like, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here.
They're interviewing Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell?
They're interviewing him
Man.
like tomorrow or something. I mean, that's how bad things have gotten
Yeah,
for Indianapolis.
They have to go into emergency mode. I mean, Mike Vrabel was on their list, but they thought they had Josh McDaniels.
Right.
And then Vrabel goes to where? Tennessee?
Yep.
It's shit like that. I mean, this
Mike,
fucking guy.
They can get Mike Malarkey.
They could get Mike Malarkey. You know what? That might be the best option at this point. Who knows?
Dan Campbell, right? Wow. He was he filled in, didn't he? Fill in when a coach got axed a couple years ago.
Yeah, I honestly did. I don't remember.
Oh man, where was he?
Oh, Miami.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're right.
Just recently, wasn't that last year?
Was that after Joe Philbin?
2 years ago?
It was after Philbin.
It was after Philbin. 3 years ago?
It was definitely after Philbin.
He did a pretty decent job.
Wow.
They played for him.
You know what, guys? I mean, it's horrible. I mean, I was listening this morning about the whole thing, and it was just, how do you do that?
Frank Reich remember Frank Reich?
Yes.
He's going to get an interview with the Colts too tomorrow, apparently.
Okay. Well, let's see where they go now. I don't know. Just horrible stuff. Mike, talk about this JD Martinez thing, because I'm kind of unaware when you mentioned to me earlier.
Yeah.
Talk about this.
Since I'm fired up, and it kind of goes along with the cold stove of Major League Baseball, and I think we should mention, we should talk about this whole beef between the union and the league lately. You hear about this, where the union was, filing complaints that, the owners and everything are just kind of like not spending money on these guys, and, these free agents aren't getting signed. It's the lowest amount of free agent signings. What's the deal? And, ownership in Major League Baseball is like, I mean, we're not shelling out these 7-8 year deals anymore to fucking 29 to 31-year-old guys, where the contract is just gross after 2.5 years. We're just not doing it anymore. And here comes JD Martinez, swinging his big old balls, says that he's fed up with the Red Sox and how the negotiations are going. Now, apparently the Red Sox offered this clown 5 years, $125 million. And he's fed up. Dude, you got cut by the Astros like 4 fucking years ago. And you're fed up with $25 million a year? Dude, go fucking get bent. Who the hell is JD Martinez? You're 30 years old. You've had like 2.5 good seasons. And you're going to say that offer, you're fed up, and you may sit out the beginning of the season, he says? Go ahead, dude. Who the fuck cares? Dude, newsflash, it's almost pitchers and catchers. Nobody wants you if you're not signed yet. So, dude, get a clue, man. I mean, what does he think he's going to get? I think, Boris is his agent, which is problem number one. And he probably convinced this idiot that he can get 7 or 8 years and 200 plus. Because you hit 40 home runs last year. Good for you. Dude, I read this. I couldn't believe it. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but good for the Red Sox. Good for Boston, man. Fuck this guy. I mean, seriously. I mean, unbelievable. Can you imagine they actually sign him now? How weird that would be.
Maybe the Mets swoop in and get him on the cheap.
Yeah. Well, according to this guy, he's God's gift to baseball, and he needs $200 million. So I don't know how cheap he's going to go. And then Boris comes out today and says oh no, that's all, it's all ridiculous. JD is pleased with negotiations. Oh, bullshit, dude. Pleased with negotiations. How come you haven't signed? It's February 7th. I mean, you guys have been linked together since fucking November, since the beginning. How soon did you hear about JD Martinez and the Red Sox? It's going on for months. You're pleased with negotiations? Really? You don't have a team. This is ridiculous. I can't believe the audacity of this guy. Oh, really fucking, I heard that, man. Ugh, JD Martinez, idiot.
Yeah, that's incredible. You know, he's not. I can't see him getting a deal like that from anybody now. You're
Oh,
right.
dude,
Look how late already. I know how slow off season has been, but after his antics, uh,
and dude,
who's going to sign a contract?
and like even if none of this was, say Boris is right, and someone kind of started this rumor that Martinez is spouting off or whatever. Why wouldn't you sign that? Now it's not official. No one can be sure what or if the Red Sox have offered this guy. But if that's true, 5 years, $125 million for a guy that has only like 150 career home runs and he's 30 years old, dude, I would take that and run so fast. It's not even funny. I mean, the market's the market. I mean, I don't know what this guy's expecting to. Like, I think Boris really convinced him that he can get over $200 million. But I think that's insane. It's insane.
That'll be fun to watch, though. That'll be fun to watch. Let's see what happens from here on out now with this guy. That's crazy. When you said that earlier, I couldn't believe it. You know what? It's been so long. I thought he signed with them already.
Yeah, no. Nope, still a free agent.
I thought it was a done deal. He was a Red Sox. Wow. That's absurd. That's absurd. So, Ryan, you mentioned this earlier, and I know we're really probably not going to talk much about it, but there's a big event starting this week, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, it only happens once every 4 freaking years.
Yeah.
And, the Winter Olympics are upon us, like Thursday. I think it's tomorrow.
The Olympiad.
And there's only been one known news story that I could tell you about, and it starts this Olympics terribly. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but apparently 1,200 security guards that were working the Olympics got like some sort of virus and are sick, and they're down 1,200 security guards. Now,
how did that many people get sick at once?
I don't know. That's what I was wondering. And
Wow.
This just sounds really bad to me. This sounds really bad.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I did hear that it's going to be really cold. I mean, I know it's the Winter Olympics, but they're calling for like frigid temperatures this weekend to start.
Well, the fact that this Olympics, I don't know, man. It sucks. I'm upset that there's no NHL players for the hockey because that's awesome. That's so much fun. I hate Bettman for what he did with this. But I will be tuning into curling, Michael Hall.
Oh. Is there anything better? The answer is no. There's nothing better.
Did I tell you that I met a guy that like went to some curling place and learned how to play the game and got to go on the ice and like he took a lesson. And
they have it here on the island. There's a curling club out in Nassau County. And if I really wanted to, I could go do it.
Well, you know what? We should just do it one day. I think it would be freaking hilarious.
I
would be the best like broomer sweeper ever. I'd be like shaving those shavings of ice like all day. Left.
You do have phenomenal forearm strength. It's legendary.
And then
so put a broom in your hand. Forget it.
As long as you can yell at me in like Swedish or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, you yell hard, and I could look it up in all different kinds of languages. And whoa, you say hard and whoa. That's all you hear.
Oh, it'd be so much fun. But anyway, did you know it's like a bumpy ice? It's not a flat ice.
Yeah, there's I guess bumpy is the word.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say it, but this guy was telling me that you step out on the ice and you think it's going to be smooth. It's not. It has like ridges in it and it has like little bumps in it, which I had no idea.
Well, I mean, I can't wait. I mean, the new this Olympics is a mixed doubles tournament.
Heck yeah, man.
There'll be 2 male and 2 female representing each country, and they do a little tournament. That's what they actually start the curling program with, is the mixed. Now, I'm excited about American curling. The women, I don't really follow it as closely. I know they're pretty good. The men, finally, no John Schuster. Guy is out. Guy was terrible. I mean, his team always made the international stage to represent our country, but he always came up small in the big competitions. He's out. Got a new squad in. A couple of guys look young and feisty, and I hear they're pretty good. So Canada's going to be the team to beat, like always, on both sides. The Swedish women are always good. I can't wait to see the Norwegian men's team in their pants. They're always fun. But I think this American team can medal. I think it's been a few. I think the 2006 Olympics is the last time the men's team medaled in curling, and they won a measly bronze. So I'm excited. Love curling.
Best.
I'm just laughing how you're breaking down curling.
I try a little bit. I wish I could bring a little bit more.
You so much about curling.
I can't even tell you the new skip's name. I know Schuster's out, which is what I'm excited about. But yeah, curling is the best.
I like the bobsled. I'm not gonna. The bobsled.
Fun story about that. Cool running style. Jamaica has a women's bobsled team.
Nice.
They've qualified.
Nice.
I don't think John Candy can coach.
No.
Rest in peace, Johnny. But yeah, the women's Jamaican bobsled team.
I'll root for them. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
You might have to watch Cool Runnings in the next few days.
Forget about the damn Swiss. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I love the bobsled.
Ryan, any news on that Pelicans game?
Yes, they have fixed the roof, and the game should be starting quite soon.
Good. So quickly, I want to go back to basketball for a second. Just mention, did you guys see the Forbes list?
Forbes list of what?
NBA franchises and what they're priced at?
No, I haven't seen it.
Well, it now marks the first time ever that every franchise in the NBA is worth $1 billion or more.
Everyone?
Every single one. The Pelicans coming in last, worth $1 billion. And number one, the New York Knicks at $3.6 billion. So I don't know how the Knicks are still number one, but it goes to show you what New York does for a franchise, because they're 1, the Lakers are 2, the Warriors are 3, the Bulls are 4, and the Celtics are 5.
Yep. Wow, that's it. That's kind of interesting. That is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Little news flash as well. Andre Drummond has 65 FanDuel points with 7.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it. 15 points, 25 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks with 7 minutes left in the game.
That should help me tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I played him, and I also Ricky Rubio. 2 minutes left in the half. He's got 30 for me.
Great half.
He's been on a tear.
I almost rostered Ricky. I went with Dinwiddie and Teague. Teague's a bit of a letdown, but
Wiggins is a big letdown too. I thought it was a nice revenge narrative.
Yeah. PJ Tucker, I thought maybe on the cheap. Not working out. But Drummond's keeping me alive, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the game's close, which is good.
Right. Brooklyn's actually keeping that game close. Guys, really quick, I have heartbreaking news. I was wrong. Shows you how much I follow the curling. John Schuster will be skipping as in captaining the men's curling team in South Korea,
No
thus
sweat.
crushing my hopes for potentially a gold or even a medal at this point because the guy's horrible. I don't know how he still fucking does this. I think I was following the mixed doubles team by mistake. They should do pretty well. I think the mixed U.S. team can compete for gold, but now that I read that I was mistaken and Schuster's back with his stupid face, American men have no shot. Sad news.
Well, yeah. So I mean, the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, like you said, Ryan, it sucks. I used to, the hockey is awesome. It really is. I love watching the Olympic hockey, and now with no NHL guys, it's gonna. I'm not really gonna watch much. I will definitely tune in, but it's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna be the same, because I don't know. It definitely loses its luster big time.
You
But
know
we're
why?
gonna see some NHL guys in there.
Yeah, you know why I think I'll tune in. Why I'm a little interested is to see if anyone could take down the Russians. I mean, because they pretty much have their pros in there.
Yeah.
It's all KHL guys. And you
Yeah.
guys hear that, since Russia pretty much breaks every international rule ever made, that these athletes aren't competing for Russia. I mean, Russian athletes are going to be there, but they're all playing under like the Olympic flag, and they're just called, athletes from Russia. Because
Yeah,
because
weird.
Russia technically they can't be represented because they're just a horrible cheating country pretty much. But anyway, in terms of the hockey, we'll see. We'll see if the Sweden's going to be good because the Swedish Elite League is top notch. So I think Sweden and Russia are the two top dogs. So we'll see if these college kids and old washed up bums for USA and Canada can make a little noise. It'll be a little fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely will tune in. It's just it loses a little luster. I love watching the Americans. They played well the last couple, and I don't know.
None. You know who's on Team USA?
No.
Matt Gilroy.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
nice.
I did see that.
And they're captained by none other than Brian Giunta.
Yeah, I knew he was playing. What's Gilroy? Is Gilroy playing offense or defense? Do we even know?
Listed as a defenseman. I think we'll see him on the blue line. The goalies I've never heard of. There's a lot of guys I haven't heard of.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll still be fun to watch for me at least.
Yeah, no, I definitely will watch it, but I don't know. Not as fun.
No, the NHL fucked that up. They should have never done that.
And here's another little, not breaking news, but little interesting news. Ryan, I know you don't like, college basketball too much. But, the other day, St. John's takes down, who they take down? Duke, right? Didn't they take Duke down? They take down Duke. They're beating number 1 Villanova with 30 seconds left by 3, by the way.
Wow.
So if they beat Villanova in a week span, they would take down the number 1, and I think Duke was number 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah, and they're they're 0-11 in their conference.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. A little breaking news. But yes, Ryan, the roof is fixed, and I think they're getting going in New Orleans, which is good. So it's going to be a little bit later of a night for that game. But you know what? Any other news, guys? Any other news that you want to add?
No, I'm good, man.
No, I've calmed down, and
I'm glad you calmed down. But you know what? We need a little anger because we are the angry hacks.
And I'm just excited for the Olympics to start. Now, I'll be down in Florida next week. So I'll try to sneak in some Olympics while I'm down, but I can't miss the curling. Can't miss
Yeah,
the
no,
curling.
that'll be fun to watch. The Olympics will be fun to watch. We have and Rye, I know you'll be tuned into the NBA yourselves, playing well still. Still got that. They still got the number one seed right now, as of
Yeah,
now.
they got a 1 game lead. They got their doors blown off last night by
Yeah.
Toronto, so we're only
good.
up 1 game on Toronto.
Toronto can play offense and defense. They can defend too.
Yeah, they're very good.
Solid ball club. Solid ball club. Mike, I don't really want to talk much at all about the Rangers. I'm just annoyed with them to no end.
No, we'll let them stew for a while.
Yeah, they're down 2-1 to Boston after the first.
Wow, they scored a goal.
It's a bad stretch right now. They got to get some of these guys back. I don't really know what to say. That's about it. That's all I got to say.
That's about it.
That's all I got to say. Yeah. Well, St. John's holding this 1-point lead, 20 seconds, which means still like 10 minutes left in that game. Guys, do us a favor, by the way. Please do your best to tweet us at the Angry Hacks and send in some ideas that we can pot, because football season's over. We need some fresh new ideas, and maybe we'll take some requests and talk about it a little bit, make sure it's relevant. But we're going to be coming out with some new stuff, some different kind of podcasts, a lot of mix-ups. We got a lot of sports at one time. So yeah, give us a tweet, and as always, please download our content on iTunes. Shoot us a little review. Tell us how we're doing. If we suck, tell us, please. Don't lie. We don't like liars, right, guys? We do not like liars.
Nope.
So anyway, from Michael Hall, from Ryan Stanley, this is Nunzi. We are signing off. Have a great weekend of sports, and we will see you next week.